On this episode of Scotty's Garage, let's talk about the Fairmont and our plans for Six Summer. That's right, I have bought a Fairmont, and I know you guys are thinking, Scotty, we already know this, you've already told us this, and you're correct. I have already told you that I bought a Fairmont in the US, but at the time, we didn't know that much. We had an idea of a plan, but we did not have the plan fully mapped out, you know. So the idea has always been to buy the car, fly over, do a Barra-swap, hopefully, and make this all happen. Go to Six Summer, run some cool times, have a blast, and show you guys how it all goes. And basically, it can also be a bit of a roadmap for you guys if you want to do something similar, you know. Find your own path to doing, you know, an event like Six Summer or Drag Week or somewhere like that in the US, because it is cool. And, you know, despite all the stuff that's happened in the past few months, America is a cool place to go. Americans are cool people. They are, a majority, are the nicest people you've ever met, to be honest, you know. So yeah, we bought a Fairmont. It is a 1981 Ford Fairmont Futura Sports Coupe. So a two-door. Two doors are cool. 4 headlight front. It is a bench seat car. Yeah, I mean, it would have been nice if I could have found a bucket seat car, but they're worth a little bit more coin. You know, if you want a bucket seat and a floor shift, that's a bit more coin. So we've got a column shift. It's got working cruise control, working 8-track. One of my viewers the other day, I'm just trying to remember his name. It will come to me. No, it won't. Sent me a whole bunch of 8-track tapes, a whole box of 8-track tapes. I'll put his name down in the description when I work out who that was. But so sent me a whole box of 8 tracks and some cool stuff as well, you know, some cool 8 tracks to take on our trip to the US. So that's going to be cool. But yeah, the car is, you know, 50 Shades of Brown. I can't use that name, unfortunately, because I think that's what Jimmy Dale calls his Mustang, 50 Shades of Brown. But it is literally 50 Shades of Brown. It is so brown. There's so much brown. And it is a cool car. It is a 200 cubic inch straight 6, and that is the engine that's the sort of the great-great-grandfather of the Barra. It uses the same main bearings and rod bearings, I think. I think it's the same rod bearings as well, but definitely the main bearings. And, you know, the Barra is such a great 6-cylinder engine. The car will fit a 6-cylinder engine, or it'll fit a Barra. We know that. We know that from Jason Way's Mustang, his Fox Body Mustang here in Australia. We know the Barra fits quite well. We know the Skid Factory guys have done the Barra-swap over in the States in a Mustang as well, and that did really well. So we are not breaking new ground, so to speak, but we're going to go over there, have a fun. I mean, I'm not a wealthy guy, so, you know, you guys are helping finance this, and I do thank you for your support, you know, through Patreon, through watching the videos, just watching the videos and subscribing and enjoying Scotty's Garage. I mean, that helps give us a little bit of money for YouTube, and then obviously your Patreon supporters are great as well. And then buying merch. If you buy a t-shirt or stickers or whatever, you know, jump on the Scotty's Garage store, buy a t-shirt, buy some stickers or a hat or a stubby cooler. We've got it all in stock. If you do that, it helps support this as well. So, and to be honest, I'm going to need all the support I can get for this exercise. With the uncertainty of the global markets and everything lately, the Aussie dollar has taken a bit of a hit. So this trip is going to cost me a lot more than I actually thought. And I've also had to buy myself a new camera. You may have noticed this video is nice and sharp and shiny and shot in 4K for the first time ever. And that's because my old camera, which I've had for over a dozen years, is starting to show its age. It has some marks on the lens that sometimes become evident, and it also is started doing some funky stuff while I've been filming, and sometimes I lose bits of footage and I'm like, I could have used that bit of footage. So I've bought myself a nice little camera. It is cool for doing this sort of stuff. So yeah, things are happening. But what's going to happen with the Fairmont? Well, all right. As I've said, the plan was always to go over and mate a Barra to the car. And the guys at Dominator Motorsports are helping me out with that. They have Barras and they import Barras into the US all the time. So yeah, they're the guys to talk to about getting a Barra in the US. And they will be shipping me an FG Barra 6 up to Minnesota where my mate Brian is. And thank you, Brian, for all your help. Brian, his wife Jessica, his daughter, I shouldn't name family names, I guess, but Brian and Jessica, we'll start with there. Thank you very much for your support. And yeah, it's going to be amazing. And then Brian's already hooked me up with a workshop over there. I will name them a little bit later. I want to reach out and talk to them first and make sure everything's kosher. But Brian's lined up some people for me to help as well, just some workshop space and that sort of thing. And I just want to make sure that those guys are fully on board for this. But yeah, there are a lot of moving parts behind this. The car has a C4 transmission. And originally I was thinking, oh, I'll take over. I've actually literally got a bell housing over there for a Turbo 400. And that's the plan I was going to do. I was going to go over there, do a 400, cut the bell housing off, make the bell housing. It's a lot of work, but it's doable. And that's sort of where I was aiming for with that. But then I was talking to Simon at Allfast in WA, who does all our transmissions and converters here in the Carnage workshop. And Simon is just, his wealth of knowledge on transmissions is just amazing. And he said, why don't you just stick with the C4? And I'm like, I hadn't actually thought about that. He's like, C4 is a good transmission. You're not going turbo straight up, you're just going naturally aspirated. And I'm like, yeah. He said, C4 with a shift kit will handle that sort of power, no problems. I'm like, okay, who makes a bell housing for a C4 to a Barra? Well, Torque Power do. So Craig Bennett at Torque Power, and I've reached out to Craig and he's going to help us out with a bell housing. And so my plan is to fly over, we'll take the car for a drive before we do anything and assess that. And I'm going to be videoing this all the way. I'm hoping to do daily updates while I'm over there, and this little camera here will help me do that. So we'll get over there, test the car, have some fun, but pretty much straight away we're going to have to pull the motor and box out, push the 200 cubic inch 6th off to the side, do whatever we need to do to the Barra. I haven't decided whether I'm doing pump gears or anything like that. It is an automatic. Pump gears are handy to have in any Barra, but more for manual transmission cars because those guys tend to be on and off the gas quite rapidly, and that shocks the oil pump gears and sometimes fractures them. So for an automatic transmission car, when I'm not going to be like jumping on and off the gas quite as much, I might not need the pump gears, but we'll see. But I'm sure the guys at Dominator will help me out with whatever I need in that regard. But for the C4, being that it's a removable bell housing, I'll be able to take the bell housing off. The transmission is absolutely filthy. I already know that because I got Brian to put it up on a car hoist. They call them lifts over there, I've got to say. So put it on a lift, and the transmission is just covered in oil, not from the transmission fluid, but from a leaky rocket cover gasket that's just drained all over the engine over a long period of time, and it is just covered in oil. So it's going to need a good bath. I'm already buying a shift kit from Summit Racing, and I'm going to shift kit the transmission while I'm there. I'm going to try and use the factory converter. I've got a Yellowterra flex plate that we had from Turbo Taxi from years ago, actually. It's been floating around, so I'm going to chuck some money in the Carnage kitty, Carnage kitty, and take that with me. I've got a set of Barra pipes that I'm going to actually, I'm going to cut them off just after the primaries. So I've got the header flange and the primary pipes, and then Brian's mate over there's got an exhaust shop, and we'll probably build the secondaries and the collectors over there when we know what the car needs to fit. So there's going to be a lot of moving parts, as I said before. But yeah, the idea is to mate that C4 up to the Barra. That will means we'll be able to keep the column shift that's in the car. We won't have to put an aftermarket shifter in it. We'll be able to keep the tail shaft that's in the car, which should be able to handle, you know, the 270 horsepower or whatever it is of the Barra. We will have to put drag radials on the car for 6 summer, so I'm going to have to buy a set of drag radials over there. I'll probably go with 235s or something like that, but I'll see what fits and what we can get under the car without having to damage, you know, like I don't want to have to, you know, do anything too extravagant under the rear guards. I do believe you can fit 275s under there pretty easily if you've got the right offset on the rims, but I don't know what the offset of the rims are or anything like that. Brian has got the car stuck away in storage at the moment, so I can ask these questions, but I also don't want him to have to, you know, run out and check things endlessly. There's a lot of stuff that we can deal with when I get there. But yeah, I'm going to try and be as prepared as I can. I've got Bill Hooton is helping me out with a engine loom. So Bill Hooton from Hooton's Harnesses is the man when it comes to Barra conversions. And when you're doing looms and any of the electronic stuff, Bill's your man. And Bill's going to help me out with, I've already got an ECU. Actually, it's one that we used to use on the MX-5 years ago. So I'm going to use that ECU. And Bill's going to build me a harness that basically needs power, and then we connect the pedal. I'm going to have to get a drive-by-wire pedal, take that over with me, fit that into the car, because it's the only way a Barra computer works. Like, it needs a drive-by-wire pedal, it needs a drive-by-wire throttle body. No one makes. You could probably do. You can maybe do a throttle cable setup, but the Barra computer just needs those signals to work anyway, so you might as well use them. So that's the plan there. Diff, I'm trying to not change the diff if I can help it. The 7.5 inch can handle that sort of power. That's the diff that's in the current, well, not, I won't say current, but certainly Ford Rangers, like you've seen the Danger Ranger that Cletus does, all those, you know, Rangers racing around the Freedom Factory, they all run a 7.5 inch diff. So the diffs are reasonably strong. They'll handle something, but the dream is eventually an 8.8. I won't need it straight away. The 8.8 will handle any of the power that a Barra will make, but they're a little bit more expensive, and that's kind of a next year thing. We'll see how this year goes first, obviously, but next year the plan is to go over and turbo it and do all the big boy stuff, like an 8.8 at turbo 400, a Barra with a decent turbo on it, and make some actual real power. But at that stage the car will also need a roll cage because we'll be that fast. Yeah, and they don't. There's no Heathcotes over there where you go over and you know, run without a cage or whatever. If you're running at a serious track over there, they're all going to be either NHRA or IHRA and licenses and roll cages and all that stuff. You would have seen that with Cletus with his what do they call it? The $7,500 challenge that they did at Six Summer, and those cars. What happened there was they ended up getting too fast, and those guys all got pulled up towards the end, and basically, yeah, they couldn't even tell people how fast the cars were because yeah, they were getting jumped on about that. So, yeah, we don't want to be bad boys. We just want to go over and have fun, and it's going to be fun. Six Summer is an amazing event. Tom Bailey is killing it in the drag and drive community right now. He's doing such amazing events, and yeah, it really is cool how many events they're putting on. He's doing all these events. He's got his Sick the magazine. He's got the YouTube channel as well. All these, and obviously he's got some good people behind him like Luke Newhoff and Matt Reiki. So those are two guys that I've worked with many times over the years. They're both Aussies, and they help Tom with all this sick stuff as well. So yeah, things are going to be pretty cool. So What else do I need to think about? I haven't mapped out I've got a rough idea of what I've got to do about a fuel system, because putting an EFI engine in a carby car, I have to do a fuel system. So my mud map I have in my head right now is to get like a Carter Black, go off the fuel tank, the normal fuel tank, Carter Black into a surge pot. Surge pot will have like a Walbro 460 or something in it, and that will feed the fuel line for the EFI, and it'll return to the surge pot. So that's kind of my plan there. For the cooling side of things, because obviously I'm not going to be able to ship over a Barra radiator, and even if I did, is that Barra radiator going to fit into a Fairmont very well? I don't know. We'll have to kind of do some part sourcing over there. Find a radiator that's nice and large, and the Fairmont has a large engine bay. It's nice and wide. There's plenty of room around the motor, so I don't think we'll have a lot of trouble. We've just got to find a radiator that's got the inlet and outlet in the right spots, and yeah, we should be pretty right to go with that. So cooling shouldn't be too hard. Like just find something late model with a decent radiator with a inlet, up here and down there, and basically have like a thermostat housing, have the filler cap on the thermostat housing like we did with a Mazda years ago. So these are all things we've done before. So that's fuel system, that's cooling, that's engine, pedal, shifter, tail shaft, transmission. I think we're pretty right. If there's something, I mean, obviously there's the computer as well with Bill's harness, but is there anything else I'm forgetting? I don't know. You guys let me know. Let me know what you think. Let me know if there's something obvious that I'm forgetting about. But I don't think there is. I think we've got it pretty sorted. Other than that, my main worry is just money, making sure that I don't run out while I'm over there. Just making sure that I've got all the things that I need. I'm going to try and send over a package shortly with the headers, the flex plate, and some flex plate bolts, which I actually have them as well, and some other stuff, drive-by-wire pedal and stuff. I want to put all that stuff in a box and send it over ahead of time, and hopefully it gets there by the time we need it, because if it doesn't, then we'll be just following along with Sick Summer as part of their Sick Ward, which is Sick Ward is this thing where you can sign up and you can park in the pits and you follow along, and there's t-shirts and all sorts of stuff, and you get, cheaper entry to the tracks and that, but you're basically paying, for every track entry ahead of time, if you know what I'm saying. So we do something similar with Drag Challenge, where we give people an armband that gets them into every track every day, and they get a t-shirt, and that's, it used to be $100, but now it's a little bit more because of inflation, because, that's what happens. Things get more expensive. But yeah, so it's going to be interesting. Fuel and accommodation, I think I've got that covered. It's mainly the parts, and obviously the exhaust system will have to get built over there. One of Brian's mates, I think I mentioned before, has an exhaust shop, so we'll be able to get the exhaust system built. I've got to buy, as I said, I've got to buy drag radials. I may have to buy some new front tyres, I don't know. I think Brian said the car could use new shocks, so they use a strut front end, so struts, they're a little bit more involved than a normal shock. But yeah, maybe we put new shocks in the car. But yeah, we'll see how we go. I think we've got most of it mapped out. It's just a matter of just paying for some stuff now. So if you want to help, buy a t-shirt, jump on the Scotty's Garage store, buy a t-shirt, buy some stickers, buy a hat, stubby cooler, any of that stuff. A few people have reached out to said, Scotty, we'd want to support you and support the journey. How can we do that? I've held them at bay, so to speak, at the moment, because I didn't really want to go down that road. But like I said, with the financial markets and everything the way they are, when with the dollar tanking, maybe I will need some help. I don't know. I have been considering whether I do the whole GoFundMe thing, but I'm kind of like also not sure about that. So I might sell some stuff too. I've got some spare parts, not here. This is all carnage and belongs to them. And if I grab something from here, I've got to pay for it. But there is some stuff obviously at home I could probably sell. So I might, if you see some stuff getting sold on Scotty's Garage Facebook, don't be too frightened. It's just me trying to drum up some extra cash for this US trip because, yeah, it is not going to be cheap. I would love to take something like Dad's Ute or something over there one day, but it's not going to happen. It's cheaper to build a car over there than it is to ship a car over there. To ship a car is, well, I've heard some figures and it varies. You won't do it for under 15. And I know some guys, and that's if you're sharing a container. I know some guys are, I won't mention names, but you know, they've told me 30 and more to ship their car over solo. So that is, I don't have that money. Yeah, I couldn't afford it. So there's no way I can do it that way. So, and I think the Fairmont's cool. I will say a lot of people thought I was going to do a Mopar. A lot of people said, Scotty, I thought you'd buy a Mopar. And I kind of looked at Mopars and they were rusty and they were expensive. They all started like 10 grand minimum. You want something nice and actually cool? Well, think 20 and more in US dollars, not Aussie dollars. So yeah, I don't have that sort of coin. Fairmont didn't cost us quite that much. So Fairmonts are cool, they're cheap, they're light, they fit a whole bunch of different engines. And like I said, I kind of like that quirky 80s cool boxy shape. I love them. I love the Malibus. The Chevy Malibus are really cool as well, and they're a similar sort of shape. So I do kind of like them. And then even Dodge has their own versions of that boxy 80s car. And I could have bought a Dodge, but being that I want to do the Barra thing, I thought Ford, Barra, 6-cylinder car, let's put a 6-cylinder in it, let's go racing, let's go have a lot of fun. It's Six Summer and it should be pretty amazing. So that is the update at the moment. I'm sorry, it's probably not the episode you were expecting, mainly because, look, life always has other plans. We've got some family stuff going on, you know, some people that are, yeah, not going to be here at the end of the year and stuff like that. So I've had to do trips away with my mum and that sort of thing to say goodbye to some people. So yeah, shit's been happening, you know. Even today, the council shows up at the doorstep and my wife's like freaking out, what, you know, and there's blackberry bushes that I have to get cut out, So instead of making cool Scotty's Garage content this weekend, I'm going to be, you know, chopping out blackberry bushes and trying to kill some foliage and stuff like that. So you might see another Scotty's Garden video coming up. Wasn't really planning to do that either. So anyway, it is what it is. Dad's Ute is running. I've rebuilt the transmission. If you've been watching the videos, you've known in the last couple of videos, I have rebuilt the transmission in this Ute. Mopar Nats is coming up. I am hoping to get this out there and racing at Mopar Nats. I am also hoping to get the car on the dyno before then, but if I can't, then I do have, see, it's got a new carby on it. It's got an 800 cubic CFM carby on it at the moment, rather than the 650. It runs a bit rich. I want to tune that 800 because I think it will run quicker with the 800. It seemed to run real good on the street, but yeah, I want to dyno tune it. And if I can't, then I'll have to drop the old 650 on it, and it should still go 12s with the 650. I just got to put those new floats in the 650 because of when they sunk to the bottom of the float bowls. If you guys have been watching Scotty's Garage, you know about all these things. So make sure you watch Scotty's Garage. Make sure you click the subscribe button so you don't miss any of the episodes. And if you want to support us through the store, through Patreon, or just, like I said, by watching the episodes and enjoying the content and clicking that like button, because that helps. You click the like button, YouTube knows you like it. They show it to other people like it. And we get, you know, some more views and hopefully at the end of the day, a little bit of money to help make more content, cool content. And some of that content's going to be coming at you from the US. So hope you enjoy that. Hope you enjoy what we've got coming up in the next few weeks. And yeah, make sure you come back and join me on Scotty's Garage.